Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman and Base. In the last part we started off the King Fortress and we learned the true villain all along was Dr. Wily. Big surprise. And if you can't tell by that level portrait, it's time for our gamely boss rush. However, this one takes more the Mega Man 1 X1 approach in the fact it's sequential, not all in one room, and we're starting right off with it, so music time. Poor Cold Man. The Super Bass Buster really just takes him out quickly. His weakness is obviously the Lightning Bolt, but the Super Bass Buster doesn't even allow his Ice Wall to really get that far, so it's just kind of absurd. And in between each of the Robot Masters, like in Mega Man X1 and Mega Man 1, we get a little platforming section. They start off easy, but some of the later ones can be kind of annoying. By the way, one thing I recommend is that after the respective bosses that are weak to it, try and stock back up on Magic Card and Remote Bomb. It's going to come in handy in a bit. Also, this is me doing some grinding, or at least what you can do if you want to grind. I could have sworn I actually edited that out. Oh well. What you're supposed to do here is actually use Ice Wall to get over the spikes. In fact, that's what you have to do with Mega Man, but if you're base, you can just say, ha, screw you, I can double jump. Also, you're gonna see something kind of rare for my boss rushes come up right now. I actually end up dying in this one a few times. Mostly just because the bosses do a bit too much damage, you don't really get guaranteed health refills after them. In fact, that's one thing I don't like about this boss rush. Similarly to Mega Man 1, you don't get energy capsules from the boss you rebeat. Also, another potential grinding spot right here, but I don't think these things drop items until you kill the second one, so... oh well. Also, as for why I chose that song from Final Fantasy X as the boss rush theme, it's because I think the song's name pretty much summarizes Mega Man and Base, especially as Mega Man. I know I keep on harping on the Mega Man playthrough, but it really is a bit misbalanced against you. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Or rather, I think they should have made it a bit more balanced towards each character, or at least make it so that there's more different routes for each character. Like, say, Base would have to take a higher path, and Mega Man would have to take a lower path that's more built to his abilities. Mind you, this game's stage design as Base, I think, works fairly well for the most part, but as Mega Man, they really should have thought about something in terms of how he plays compared to Base. In a way, it somewhat reminds me of Kirby's Epic Yarn, which was a game that became a Kirby game, but it was originally going to be something else entirely. In fact, the original main character is still in it. Kind of like, what's it called? Star Fox Adventures. But that's a whole other idea. A whole other idea in that this is a game that's more designed around one of the two characters instead of just having another character whose ability set is entirely different thrown in. Oh, and yeah, they brought back this section for some reason from Magic Man stage. I don't get why they randomly decided to bring this back. I guess this is their way of saying, oh, hey, Magic Man's up next, because they do try to somewhat hint who's next with each single area, just based off, like, the enemies you're facing and such. But they could have done something other than this, like maybe those other guys, the little soldiers more often or something. And it's not the only enemy they do this with, too, as you'll see in a moment. There's another one for Magic Man in a moment that is in a very stupid location. You also can't really speed through this one like the one in Magic Man stage, where you could just kind of dash under it. You have to wait for him to destroy as much as you can. And ow, my face. Why is there an enemy in my boss hallway past Mega Man 1? I almost kind of feel bad for Magic Man. Without his weakness, he's one of the most annoying ones in the game, but with it, he is the weakest. Also, here's a bit of a thing. Weapon energy in a wall like this you need to give Magic Card will automatically go to Magic Card unless when it's on the area where it's not in the wall anymore, you press start and switch weapons, in which case it'll just fall to the ground. You have to kind of think outside the box for that, but it's there for you if you need it. Admittedly, this isn't one of the worst boss rushes in the series because since there's actually a way for you to grind for health in between them, it's not the worst, but if you're someone like me who doesn't like grinding, especially when recording, it can be kind of annoying just in terms of how much damage you'll probably end up taking in between them. I don't know what I prefer in the long run, though. All the bosses in one area or all of them in a sequential order like this in Mega Man X1 and Mega Man 1. I want to say I prefer just the giant room just because it means I can get it over more quickly, but at the same time, eh. And that's the end of the boss rush. And we're immediately thrown into the Dr. Wily fight. Yeah, no real cool-off time.
Damned king! Turning against the one who made him. Ungrateful cur! But thanks to you, nobody stands in my way, and I've got my laboratory back. Now, before you go haywire like King, I'll take out your control chip. Once that's done, everything will be taken care of. I'll have nothing left to worry about. So you intended to use King to take care of me, did you? You dirty son of a bitch! Time to give you a little lesson so you never try to pull that kind of stunt on me again! What? You arrogant little worm! Are you going to try to disobey me too? I'll show you who's in control.
Dialogue obviously different with Mega Man in every single instance, but it's time for this game's Wildling Machine, which is very similar to Mega Man 8 in the fact it's basically Winston weak against Flash Bomb. You have to hit him in the eyes though, not everything else, just the eyeballs. The basic strategy for this fight, avoid everything he throws at you by jumping. That's about it. You do need to shoot that mouth though before it fires that laser in order to stop it. Now one thing I didn't entirely talk about with the King levels, or I guess now Dr. Wily's levels, is that your weapon energy does not refill in between them. If you need to get a refill, you need to go into another stage and come back. Once you get rid of all your remote bomb ammo, just double jump and shoot him in the eye. I'll go down fairly quickly. But then it's time for the Wily UFO, which killed me very quickly. Strategy with this thing? Double jump into its range and then use Magic Card on it. You can only hit the dome, nothing else. I'm not even sure what deciphers the attacks. I think it's just altitude-based or something. Like sometimes he does those 4 balls of doom from Mega Man 7. Other time he does the spread shot from Mega Man 4. I think that was 4, wasn't it? 3 or 4. No, wait, no, that was 4. Yeah, it can also do those little bombs, but those are largely ineffective. Honestly, as base, this final boss is pretty easy. As Mega Man, it's a bit harder because you have to wait for him to be at a lower altitude since you cannot, because you can only hit him in the dome. But beyond that, it's just avoiding his attacks as usual and doing as much damage as you can. But suck it, Wily. Your own creation beat you at your own game. Bow down to the superior robot. Sorry, got a bit into that character. And now for something a bit different. I'm actually showing both endings here. When you beat the game, you only get the one that's on the left of the screen, no matter what character you're playing as, so I inserted the Mega Man one just in case. But that's Let's Play Mega Man and Base. How is it? As Base, it's alright. It has some issues, especially in terms of stage design and just difficulty. But I still think it's a viable game as Base. As Mega Man, though, it's horrible. It really is. The stage design is not thought out for him at all. There's way too many instances where you can just get killed cheaply, especially in the Game Boy Advance version, where screen crunch is your worst enemy. And it's overall just the hardest Mega Man series game, at least classic, when you're playing as Mega Man. As Base, it's still pretty hard, but I would rank probably 3, 7, and 9 above this, now looking back. If you want to play this, though, there's not many ports. It's on the Super Nintendo, which is Japan exclusive, Game Boy Advance, which is what we got, but I don't recommend that port. And it's also on the, what's it called? Virtual Console for Wii U, but that's the Game Boy Advance version. And that's about it. I think the game, it is worth a playthrough, I'll admit to that. If you're a Mega Man fan, that is. Will I ever do a Mega Man playthrough, though, even though I'm showing his ending right now? Like I said before, it's not likely. If I do one, it'll be years down the road or as a live stream. Just because you'd hear me screaming at it out loud, and that would just be fun. I do think that's probably the only time you'd see it, just because I can only really have fun in this game as Base. As Mega Man, it has moments, especially in the boss fights, because his charge shot is so much better against dealing with them at the start, but as Base, it's just a much more overall pleasant experience. But with that, though, that's all the Mega Man Classic games that I can play at the moment. I still have to do 9 and 10, but I can't record those with my current hardware. So more than likely, the next classic Mega Man game you're going to see is, in fact, Mega Man powered up for the PSP. So look forward to that. Also, Base just rebelled against his creator. That's why he is the way he is in 10 and such, and even some of the fighting games, I believe. Oh, that's a dark line to end off on their Base. I'm sorry I didn't read the endings, but I had to get my opinions off, because I don't like it when games do this kind of thing, where I either have to read the ending or talk about my game's thoughts over the credits. That's not a very good balance there. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great night. Take care. And I'll see you guys next Let's Play.